Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be installing this brand new wood rim steering wheel to a Classic Mini. So I'm quite looking forward to putting this on. Actually, I think this looks absolutely gorgeous and it's going to really offset the Mini and improve the styling of it. Not saying that, it'll make it look a little bit more like the 60s vision for it I had in mind when I bought this car. Yes, this car is a 1991 Mini, but it's got little 60s flares here and there, so I like this. It's going on there to keep in with that theme. But before we go and fit this to the car, let's go and talk through what obviously you're going to need to fit it to the car. So when you buy a steering wheel to fit onto any car, you obviously have to make sure it's the right sort for your car. Steering wheels, these are mostly universal. I mean, this here will fit a Mini, things like the MGB, MG Midget, you know, it's a universal steering wheel. However, the bit that's important is the boss here, because if this doesn't fit your steering column, obviously it's not going to turn the wheel, and that is naturally going to be quite dangerous. So this does fit a Mini, and the idea with that is you just have the wheel fit onto the top of the boss like that. This just a little finisher, makes it look nice. This is obviously where the bolts go in, and this here just a little centre cap that finishes off and looks nice. If your car has a horn in the middle, so in the middle of the steering wheel, just there, yeah, that would be your horn press. My Mini does not have a horn in the middle of the steering wheel, it's on the end of the indicator stalk, so for me this is not a problem. But ones with horns, obviously make sure you get a setup that obviously has the wires for you to connect your horn up to it. And of course, obviously you will need the bolts to fit it. Most kits come with the bolts, but these here are little countersunk heads for anyone wondering. So the tools you're going to need to do this job are going to be a 33mm socket, or in old money, a 1 5/16 socket, a 1/2" drive wrench, possibly an extender. You may or may not need this depending on the steering wheel type you got, but I've found with mine already from just having a quick look before filming, this will be necessary. A torque wrench just to obviously torque it all up at the end, and a set of Allen keys if you got them that fit. In my case, I got my little favourite tool here for the Mini, my little spanner, ratchet spanner, whatever you want to call it, that's going to tighten up the bolts. Other options are potentially just to get the bolts started, a little electric screwdriver. It's not very powerful, it's not going to push them in too quickly and potentially break something, so yeah, these are your options. And of course, to get the old wheel off, you're going to need a screwdriver. The little magnetic tray is of course optional. Let's head on over to the car now, shall we, and get this fitted. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to look like in there. YouTuber snap. Obviously this isn't the interior of the car yet, but before we get to there we want to make sure that the wheels are in a straight line, because if they're facing out this way or that way, and you put the steering wheel on and you think, oh yeah, it's all lined up, as soon as you turn it to get it straightened up, the wheel probably won't look right on the interior. So just make sure these wheels are in a straight line before you start. One of the best ways of checking is obviously if your car has a steering lock. I suggest put the car, take the key out, lock the wheel in place. Hopefully that should be them straight. Let's move on to the interior. Alright, so you're now in the interior of your Mini and you're greeted with the old steering wheel, which is unfortunately going to have to come out, but it can be mounted somewhere nice on the wall, can't it? So what you want to do, grab your screwdriver, just get it nicely in there, work your way around the centre. It's only mild rubber. There we go, and that's off. You're then greeted by the 33mm or 1 5/16 wheel nut. So what we're going to have to do now is loosen that off using the big boy. Quick tip, when you're trying to loosen something off, what you want to do is try and tighten it a bit more first, because that will help loosen it off. And then put all your strength into it, and that way then the wheel nut will be loose. It's at this point where you might think, oh yeah, just take this straight off. Don't do that, because when you pull this off eventually, if you've taken it fully off, it's just going to hit you on the nose and you're going to have a very bad time, so don't do that. Bloody hell, this is on quite hard. And with a few hits like that, it's not easy because it is on quite tight. Take the nut off, put it somewhere safe, and then take the old wheel off. A little washer in here, save that, because you're going to need it later on. Right, we can now put the old wheel out, just check to make sure there's nothing else around here, which there isn't. And put that to one side, and now, with the old wheel off, you can now have take two. With the old wheel off, you can now just have a quick look over all your steering column just to make sure there's no imperfections or anything that's going to obviously prevent you from steering the car. This one looks good. Bear in mind this car is nearly 30 years old. And what you want to do, grab your new wheel. I've only put 3 little screws in just for now, just to mark up where it's going to go. And with that firmly lodged in place, that's not going anywhere at all. What you want to do, once you're happy, is obviously grab your little locking washer. Said you'll need to save this for later. Put it on, and then grab the 33mm nut. Place that on. Just do it up hand tight for now, because what you're going to need to do next is grab your torque wrench and put it up to the right setting. Now, depending upon the age of the torque wrench that you've got, it may well obviously work in different ways. This one just winds up to the correct amount of torque that you need. Other ones are electronically controlled using a little sort of system of buttons on it, basically. But with this one, what you do is pull it out and then wind it up to whatever you need. With this particular one, I'm going to wind it up to about 36 pound-foot of torque, because the recommended settings for doing a wheel is between 32 and 37, but because I haven't got 37 that clearly written on here, I'm just going to do it up to 36. That'll be enough. On it as well, you can obviously change what sort of settings you want, whether you want kilogram meters, newton meters, hundreds, pound foot, you name it, it's all there. Right, put that on like that, and then just wind it round until it clicks, or in the old one's cases, beeps. Right, that's a click. Can't get the socket off now. And then just do it again just to be sure. Yep, that's it all on. Right. And now what we want to do is grab the other screws or bolts, whatever you want to call them, and just wind them in. This is quite a slow process, so I'm going to just speed up this a little bit. And with the wheel in place, what I'm going to do now is tighten it up using an Allen key instead of that, because it's just a lot easier to use an Allen key. You don't want to do these up too tightly, just enough. Just remember when you're doing these up, do it diagonally, as if you're doing your wheels on the outside of the car. Because that way then you get the best fitting. Right, and there we go. That is now on the car. And once you're sure everything's all tightened up, what you can do is go ahead and put your little centre cap on, and there you go. You have a nice new steering wheel for your classic Mini. And there we go. The wheel is now fitted to the car. I will leave a link down below to where I got this particular wheel from. This one came with the whole kit of the Boss wheel, finishing little touches, you know. So if you're interested in getting the same one as me, I'll leave a link to it down below in the description. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, guys, please consider leaving a like, Comment down below if you've got any questions about it and if you want to say something nice about the wheel, and of course subscribe for playing more videos like this to come. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week. Farewell.